Hello there, and welcome to the next episode of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. And today, we are going to be continuing on the last series on Mastering the Raid. So, as we talked before, Mastering the Raid is a very important part of this game if you actually want to advance in Arena, Galactic War, and the Raid. Because if you don't do well, you're not going to get the good rewards which you need to break the gear barrier that we're currently facing right now. So today we're working on phase 2 and 3. The gameplay that you're seeing right now, it's actually just recorded gameplay of me playing late at night last night, and it's a continuation of the last raid that was going on. How I wasn't able to record this and give a live commentary as I was playing. It was late at night, didn't want to interrupt the family, so I went ahead and recorded some good gameplay here. And essentially what we're going to be talking about is what we need to be mastering phase 2 and the phase 3 inside of a raid. So phase 2 and phase 3, they're kind of similar, but they're very different in terms of how you're going to get the most damage out. So let's go ahead and talk about phase 2 first. We're right now, the video that we're playing, it's just me playing phase 3. Never got a chance to play in phase 2. I got busy and never got a chance to actually go ahead and get some good gameplay at that. So we're going to just go ahead and focus on looking at phase 3 here, but the tips are kind of the same despite what phase you're working on. So in phase 2, in order to get the most damage on the Rancor, you first want to know what's going on in the background, because not everyone knows the rules about each of the phases, because each phase works a little bit differently than the one before. The Rancor behaves differently. So in phase 2, what's going on here is that the Rancor is going to take reduced damage if he doesn't have any debuffs. So sometimes you might be wondering why Yoda might be hitting pretty weak, or why Rey might not be hitting as strong as she normally does. And if you notice, when the Rancor doesn't have any debuffs on him, he has like increased defense, if you want to call it that. So one of the goals you want to try to work on in here, it's not number one priority. I still think you can get away with not having a debuffs on. As you see, Rey can still hit like a monster no matter what happens. But you may want to consider having someone who can debuff the Rancor. So I have Old Ben here. He uses Mind Trick once in a blue moon, every 5 turns. So he's not getting debuffs off too often, but it's coming once in a while that you can drop it on. I don't think it's number one priority, but I thought you should know. In case you don't have some of these characters, you might have some good debuff characters to use. Another thing that I find very important here, kind of like what I was doing in phase 1, but you want to have a good turn manipulation team. And this team does great with that. At least does great with the roster that I have. So we have Qui-Gon Jinn. He's obviously trying to strip turn meter, as he just did right there. And you want to try to make sure the Rancor, you're trying to slow him down before he devours your team. Because every 5 or so turns, the Rancor is going to go ahead and eat someone, and you want to try to delay that as long as possible. So we have Qui-Gon here, trying to remove turn meter, and we also have Yoda trying to help out there with his one basic, or not as basic, his special that he can remove turn meter. And we also have Han, who gives your team a bonus so they can get 30% turn meter increases. Another thing that's really important here is Foresight. As we see here, Foresight comes in handy, especially when the Rancor wants to just smash everyone into the ground. So really, if you have Yoda, a lot of people do at this point. They may have him at 6 stars. I have him at 7 stars. Fortunately, 2 Yoda events ago, I finally got him to 7 stars once they finally nerfed the event, because it was super hard before. And you want to try to time out your Foresight. You don't want to do it all the time, but you want to time it so that, one, you want to time it for when the attack on everyone comes up, so you protect your whole entire team. And the best time to use it is when he's going to smash everyone, and then he's going to try to remove everyone's buffs. So usually the very first turn, the Rancor is going to go ahead and try to attack everyone, and then he's going to go ahead and get rid of everyone's buffs. And Yoda, he pretty much helps the Rancor waste a turn. So you want to try to time it out in the right way. So usually every time his AoE comes around, you should have that Foresight. As you see here, we're 1 turn away from spreading Foresight to everyone. Rancor has 1 more turn until he attacks everyone. So, and you you may have noticed a few times in this video when I give everyone Foresight, I'm not using Qui-Gon's turn meter strip on the Rancor. Reason being is sometimes Qui-Gon does a great job on turn meter stripping, and he prevents the Rancor from going for a long time, and then all of a sudden, everyone loses their Foresight. So I just lost Han here in this part of the video, and I kind of paused for a second, wondering what I should do. So I'm just showing you this picture right now. Everyone's got buffs. This is from a different raid, not from the one that's going on right now. And the reason why I'm showing that picture is because usually I try to get old Ben to die first. And the reason why is because you just saw in that quick little snippet there, everyone got buffs and everyone's going to town. You know, Rey's going to town, Qui-Gon, Yoda. Everyone's got speed up. Everyone's got increased damage. It's great when that happens. The reason why I didn't reset there is because Han died and it wasn't the biggest deal in the world. So we just kind of kept going. I figured, we could still use Ben a little bit. So if you are going to run this team, I would try to make sure Yoda, Rey, and Qui-Gon don't die first. You want to try to make it old Ben, if possible, which it happens a good amount of times. Usually about half the time, he may go for old Ben first. And then if Han dies, that's okay. But once they start taking away Yoda, Rey, Qui-Gon, that's when I usually pull out and try again. So we didn't get the best case scenario here, but I wanted to toss in that picture in those previous raids that I did where old Ben actually helped out the whole entire team. So we talked about turn meter, we talked about debuffs, we talked about Foresight. Next thing that's super important in Phase 2 and Phase 3 is having a taunter. And the reason why you want someone who taunts is because you want to try to make sure the Rancor is not going around smacking everyone down, trying to slowly weaken everyone so when the attack on everyone comes, everyone wipes out. You want to have a taunter, and Han, he's a great candidate for this because he gives everyone turn meter manipulation, and when the Rancor hits him, he gives more turn meter manipulation, has a good amount of protection, good amount of health, so he's going to stick around for a while. And the other good thing is, it also delays the attack on everyone. So even though the Rancor, his attack on everyone is already reset, it's ready to go, if someone's taunting and he can't remove that taunt, he's going to keep using his basic smash on just that taunter until the taunt is removed. So you can really delay that attack on everyone. And because that's a very brutal attack. It does a lot of damage to all of your team members. So it's another great way to delay these big attacks. So big message so far in this raid and in this phase is delaying all these big moves as much as possible. And as you see here, we're getting some good turn meter manipulation from Qui-Gon. Since we don't have Han, things are a bit slow. So some people use a healer in this raid, or in this phase, or these two phases I should say, but I don't think it's 100% necessary. As you see, we are getting close to when the Rancor is going to enrage, which essentially hurts everyone, kind of like insta-kill essentially. So you should be able to last a long time with this type of squad without having to heal yourself. If you don't have this lineup, let's say you don't have Yoda, you may want to consider having a healer because you're going to take a lot of damage. So those are kind of pretty much the big tips for Phase 2. And they kind of carry on to Phase 3. Only difference is in Phase 3 where it's kind of reversed in terms of damage. If you have a debuff on you, you're going to do less damage to the Rancor. So what I would recommend there is if you, let's say you're at Phase 3, you still haven't refreshed, and you're kind of missing some characters. If you have a cleanser, that may be a good time to go ahead and toss a cleanser into like Akbar, Elder, Rex, to go ahead and try to remove those debuffs. So, yeah, so I'm kind of winding down the phase here. As you see, the Rancor is going to be enraged in 2 turns. I'm trying to get as many people out as possible. Old Ben couldn't make the trip. It's not the end of the world. He's going to take the bullet for us, kind of like in Star Wars, he took the bullet so everyone can get away from Darth Vader. So Ben's our hero here. So this is a pretty decent round. We got about 524,000 damage on the Rancor, which is pretty decent. If you had some more turn manipulation, you can maybe drag it on a bit longer. Best I've gotten when you have every one of the buffs, it can last easily. You can probably easily get up to 650,000. I think that's been my highest. So if you want what the main takeaway is from this video when you do phase 2 and phase 3, tip number 1, you need turn meter manipulation either on a reduction scale on the Rancor or on a positive end where you're getting those speed boosts from like Phasma, Han Solo. So that's number 1. Number 2 that you want to mainly focus on is make sure you at the best of your ability try to get Foresight, and especially Yoda is amazing when the Rancor is above 50% health. As you saw there, I avoided so many attack on everyone moves, and that pretty much left all my characters in the green, even with some protection, even towards the end of the raid. And the only reason why we left is because he was about to get enraged, and we didn't want to lose all of our characters with one blow. The next big thing I would just say that you need to take away from this is try and get Rey out. Try to get all of your huge damage dealers out at as much as possible. Sometimes luck isn't on your side, so you can decide whether or not just to keep going on or to start over. If you're losing these big damage dealers earlier on in the phase, go ahead and just restart. Try it again. You want to try to save your good characters at the very end and get them out like we did with Qui-Gon Jinn and Rey. They're in pretty good condition. Yoda helped them stay in tip-top shape, and we didn't happen to lose them at all. So that's the other big thing. The last thing I just want to make sure you guys know is that at least have one tank. Even if it's Stormtrooper, the normal Stormtrooper, not Stormtrooper Han, he still actually does fairly well in regards to, protecting your team, making sure that the Rancor is not doing his attack on everyone as often because he's delaying that. So put any type of tank in there. Han is my personal preference. Poe does all right. However, before you can get the special gear, his protection isn't the greatest, but he can still get the job done. He can even apply physical damage down on the Rancor, so that definitely helps out. But with all that in mind, I hope this video is helpful. Phases 2 and 3, let me know if this stuff works. Let me know if there's something that you guys try out and that works for your benefit. We'll try to do a Phase 4 video. However, it's not going to be during this current raid that we've been working on the past 2 videos. I'll go ahead and release that at another point in time. But until then, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you later. Peace out.